Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Diptarup Ghosh Dastidar and I am an assistant professor in the Amity School of Languages, Amity University, Chhattisgarh. And this is the session in which we are going to discuss the poem Ulysses. That is the text of the poem Ulysses and understand what the poem means and what it is all about. So before this, we have had 3 sessions. In the first session, we talked about the Victorian age. We talked about the poet Alexander Pope and the Queen and the relationship between them, Arthur Henry Hallam, and the people and the age. In the second video, we started off talking how the ages themselves are not watertight compartments but fluid. And then we talked about the source behind the poem, that is the Ulysses, the character taken from Homer's Odyssey and Iliad, and how he, that is Tennyson, not only draws from Homer but also from Dante in the Divine Comedy. In the third video, we discussed about the verse structure of the poem and the form in which the poem is written, that is the blank verse, that is iambic pentameter lines which are unrhymed, there is no rhyme to that, and the form which is the dramatic monologue. One speaker, one or more listeners, and along with that it is spoken at a dramatic moment in the history of the speaker. So that being said, we'll dive directly on to the poem. So today what I'm going to do is that I'm going to discuss this poem, and just to make it easier, since it is slightly longer poem, what I'll do is that I'll divide it into 2 parts so that you get 2 small videos, and in the 2 small videos you get all of it, the entire poem. Now in the first video, I'll try to finish off with the first part of the poem. So the poem is divided into basically 3 parts. In the first part of the poem, Tennyson talks about, so it's not Tennyson, from now on it is Ulysses, because the speaker is Ulysses. So in the first part, Ulysses talks about his boredom with his place, that is Ithaca. I'll just write a few things down so that it is easier. So Ulysses is in Ithaca and he is bored of Ithaca and he wants to go off. And the first part is all about his justifications. Justifications as to why I want to go out and why having me here is implausible. It is not okay. The second part of the poem is his address to Telemachus, that is his son. So in the second part of the video, in his address to, in the second part of the poem, in his address to Telemachus, he talks about how Telemachus is a better ruler than he will ever be and how he should actually be going away. And in the third part, finally, you have him addressing, so there's an address to his fellow comrades, right? So he addresses his fellow sailors / soldiers. Well, it could be any of these. People he fought with, people he journeyed with, and he addresses them and exhorts them that why don't you come on a journey with me, that is, and this will be a last journey, one of a kind, and it would be something that is beyond the bound of human thought, something that is way beyond what humans can even think. Now see, many of the lines in this poem are so iconic that it will make you understand why Tennyson is the second most quoted person in the Oxford Dictionary of Phrases after Shakespeare. So the most number of phrases and quotations are from Shakespeare, and then you have Tennyson. And this poem, it shows why it's so. So anyways, I hope that this classification is clear. Today we are going to talk about this, and then I'll tell you how exactly you need to read a passage. So when a passage is given to you in an exam, how exactly to read it? What is expected of you when you read a passage? Let's get into it then. Okay, so firstly, it little profits that an idle king by this still hearth among these barren crags. It little profits means it is of no use. It is of no use that an idle king like me. Now see, when you read a poem is visual in nature. So it is word, but it is word painting. So every time you read a word, you try to visualize that, because that is how poets want you to imagine. That is how poets would want you to think. They want you to imagine, to see what they are saying. So poems are word paintings. All right. Now then, it little profits. It really is not much of importance that an idle king like me, by this still hearth. Now the hearth is again the fireplace. By this still hearth among these barren crags. Crags means stones, mountains, big stones basically. So mountains. So by this still hearth among these barren crags, Ulysses is staying, right? So it little profits, it doesn't profit that an idle king like me, by this still hearth among these barren crags, what is he doing there? He is matched with an aged wife. So his wife, that is Penelope, is also aged. And now we know that Ulysses is aged as well, because Penelope, Ulysses almost the same age. Penelope is a little bit younger, but still Penelope is aged, so Ulysses most definitely is aged. Now, matched with an aged life. Matched, what does it mean? Matched means that partnered with. He is partnered with an aged wife, that is Penelope. I meet and dole. When he says I meet and dole, he means that I offer. What do I offer? What do I allot? I allot unequal laws unto a savage race. So he calls the people of Ithaca a race that is savage. Okay? Savage race that hoard and sleep and feed and know not me. So they hoard, bundle up together in one place, they sleep, they feed, and no one knows who he is. What does he mean when he say no one knows who I am? He means, Ulysses means that Ulysses, who is Ulysses basically? Ulysses is not a king. Ulysses is not a ruler. Ulysses is a warrior. Ulysses is a voyager. And these people, savage race, they do not know this. They do not know that Ulysses is this person, the warrior, the voyager. They know him as a king and a ruler, and they are really not interested in that part. And so he says that they do not know me. And he says that I cannot rest from travel. Now see, this is a kind of it is a monologue, right? So Ulysses is speaking his heart out. And when you read a monologue, you can actually figure out what the person means, what a person is actually from the inside. So he's telling his insides out to you, saying that I cannot rest from travel. I will drink life to the lees. Now here you have a metaphor. How to figure out what a metaphor is? So a metaphor is indirect, obviously, an indirect way of understanding a simile. What is a simile? Red like a rose, white like a dove. So this word like makes it a simile. Direct, it is directly given, but in a metaphor it is indirect. So you don't have red like a rose. You will probably has my love is a red rose. So this likeness is implied. It is not directly given, it is implied. So over here, the example that we have over here, that I will drink life to the lees. What does it mean? Well, it means that what is lees, first of all? Say this is a glass, and the glass is filled with water over here, okay? And this is the glass, let's say. So this much is the water. Now this part is called the brim. Pardon my poor artistic abilities, but this part is called the brim, and this part is called the lees. So when he says, I will drink life to the lees, what he's saying is that I will enjoy life up till the end, just like someone drinks up to the lees. So it's just, metaphor is a simile. You just have to figure out what the simile is. So you break down the metaphor and you get the simile. So I will drink life to the lees means I will enjoy life so much that it will be like drinking something to the lees. I hope you understood the context of this. All times I have enjoyed greatly, have suffered greatly. So he is someone who has not just enjoyed but has also suffered. Some lines are very literal. Okay. Both with those that loved me and alone on shore, and when through the scudding drifts of the rainy Hyades vex the dim sea. So basically he has suffered himself and he has suffered with others. He always had the sailors with him, and other times he mostly was alone. And here is an interesting part, that what does he mean when he says scudding drifts? I'll just remove this. And scudding drifts means lashing roars. So lashing waves on the surface, on the beach, that is. So when through scudding drifts the rainy Hyades vex the dim sea. What is Hyades? Now see, here what he's doing is that Tennyson is at that time, I mean in the time of Ulysses, they did not have the compass. They did not have a lot of tools that people who used to travel day to day get their directions from. So they did not have the compass. So how did they know which one is north? How did they know what is south? How did they know which direction they are going in? They used to follow stars. Alright, and you will find a lot of examples, a lot of references to stars in this poem. So the stars, and here what is the Hyades? A Hyades is a group of stars which can be found in the constellation of Taurus, which is the bull. Okay, and it is said that whenever you have the Hyades come in on the sky, you have rain. And therefore he's saying that how through the scudding drift of the rainy Hyades. So see, the rainy Hyades, this is interesting. He says rainy Hyades. Now rainy Hyades is an example of a transferred epithet, or what we also know as a hypallage. What is a transferred epithet or hypallage? It is when epithet means adjective. So rainy is the epithet, that is the adjective, and Hyades is the noun. But Hyades is a group of stars. Can stars be rainy? No, the weather is rainy. So the weather is rainy because of Hyades. But the poet doesn't say that. What does the poet say? The poet says rainy Hyades itself. So this is where the epithet, that is the adjective, has got transferred from weather to Hyades. So it should be rainy weather, but due to Hyades, but it has become rainy Hyades directly. This is called a transferred epithet or hypallage. We have seen, what have we seen? We have seen metaphor and how metaphors are there. We have also seen transferred epithet now. Amazing. So what is the point of that? He says that I cannot rest from travel. I will drink life to the lees, and I have enjoyed greatly, suffered greatly, both alone and with people along with me. And under what situations, under what circumstances? This kind of rainy circumstances. So you're going on a sea and it is raining, it is stormy, it is extremely violent over there. Vexed the dim sea. So the Hyades is said to vex. Vex means disturb the dim sea, the sea which is normally dim. Now see, sea cannot be dim, or sea cannot be vexed, because the sea is not a living being. But Tennyson, or Ulysses here, is speaking in a way in which the sea can be disturbed. The sea can be dim at a certain point of time. And so the sea becomes a person. This is called personification. Right? So now we know personification, we know transferred epithet, we know metaphor. Lovely. So vex the dim sea, and then he says that I am become a name. So here it is a little bit complex, because what does he mean when he says I am become a name? Well, he means that his name has spread throughout the crowd. Many people don't know him, as we have said earlier also, but everyone knows his name. They don't know him, everyone knows his name. So he says that people know me because I have always roamed around here and there. He says that for always roaming with a hungry heart, much have I seen and known. So he has seen a lot. He has known a lot with a hungry heart. So you see, his heart is hungry. Now again, a heart cannot be hungry. So the heart is personified. So with a hungry heart, he goes everywhere. We use these metaphors, these figures of speech. Now these all things, transferred epithet, personification, metaphor, similes, metonymy, synecdoche, a lot of these, they are called as figures of speech. When you answer questions, figures of speech are extremely important. So, well, the figures of speech, we use them in our speech almost every day, and we do not even realize that we are using it. But anyways, I have seen and known cities of men and manners, climates, councils, governments, myself not least. So he has seen a lot. He has seen the world, he has seen councils, he has seen governments, he's even seen himself. So basically what Ulysses is saying, that I know myself. I know myself, I cannot stay here. I am not a king. I am meant to go out on a voyage. And he says that I have been honored of them all. Everyone has honored me. I have drunk delight of battle with my peers. So you see, again, drunk the delight of battle. So he loves battle, and therefore battle to him is very similar to drinking. Metaphor. I have enjoyed battle just like I enjoyed drinking my wine. That is what Ulysses means. So I have drunk, and also obviously drunk, delight of battle means that he has been so much into battle that it's equal to being drunk. So when you are drunk, you are intoxicated by a feeling. You are completely into that particular mood, and he is completely intoxicated in battle. And where has he battled? People, you know the answer to this because we have discussed it in the source video. What is the place where they have battled? Far on the ringing plains of windy Troy. Now this is an interesting line. You all know about Troy. Troy is where they fought with the Trojans, and he was a part of the battle. So far on the ringing plains of windy Troy. Do you see there is a similarity in the sound? Ringing, windy. So ringing, windy. Now usually this sound, the reason why Tennyson's poems are known as extremely sonorous. Sonorous means something which sounds great. So when I read a Tennyson poem, I love reading a Tennyson poem because it sounds amazing. It comes to your lips. So it is sonorous. Now, when I say ringing plains of windy Troy, what do I mean here? The plains of Troy, it is windy, it is stormy, and it is ringing. Ringing with what? With the shouts of the warriors, with the clash of steel, with swords on one hand and shields on the other. They are clashing with each other, and there is a lot of noise. So therefore, ringing plains of windy Troy, but the ringing windy, you have similarity in sound. This is called an assonance. Now what is an assonance? It is very similar to an alliteration. Alliteration is repetition of consonant sounds, whereas assonance is repetition of vowel sounds. So you see, an example of an alliteration would be, chops, chairs, chewing gum, and chicken pox in China chambers. It's a poem by James Joyce in which he says there were chops, chairs, chewing gums, chicken pox in China chambers. You can easily see the ch sound. Here, you don't have a consonant sound. You have a repetition of the vowel sound. E. Ringing windy. You see, E. That is an assonance. Right? So, ringing plains on windy Troy. There he has fought his battles. I am a part of all that I have met. Now see, this is interesting. I am a part of all that I have met. He's not saying everything that I have met is a part of me. No, he's not saying that. And that is also true, that everything I have met is a part of me. It is inside me. But no, what he's saying is, I am a part of all that I have met. So I am distributed in these different places where I have been. So what does he mean? I am not in Ithaca. I am everywhere else. I am not in Ithaca. I don't want to be in Ithaca. Please let me go to these other places. Let me go to these different places. So I am a part of all that I have met, yet all experiences an arch where through gleams the untraveled world whose margin fades. Now he calls all experience like an arch where through gleams that untraveled world. Now that untraveled world could be anything, right? It could be knowledge, it could be death, it could be anything. And he says that the edge of that world, that is a horizon, it's like the horizon itself. The closer you get, the farther it goes. So you can never reach the end of that. You can never reach the end of experience before your death. So, and he doesn't talk about death. Death comes much later. So he's extremely positive, extremely full of energy. And he says that all experience is an arch where through gleams that untraveled world whose margin fades forever and forever when I move. So it keeps going on. And he says that how dull it is to pause to make an end. It is so dull to suddenly pause, right? I mean, you're going on in your life. It is good. Life is taking you ahead. Don't pause. Go with the life. That's what Ulysses says. To rust unburnished, not to shine in use. An amazing imagery. Now see, he is using images. He uses images everywhere. So he says that this is also a metaphor, by the way. Sitting idly, not doing anything, is a lot like a metal which rusts. Unburnished. So unused. Unburnished means unused. What is usually burnished? Steel is burnished steel. So a metal which rusts, unburnished, and it is hardly ever used, and it doesn't shine in its use. And so it is, his situation is very similar to that of the metal. So it's a metaphor. And I hope the image is clear. He's comparing himself to a metal which is rusting and it needs to shine. And to shine, it needs to be used. You cannot keep Ulysses in one room and expect that he would shine. For him to shine, he has to go out. And he says that as though to breathe were life, is it enough? Is life equal to breathing? It's not. Well, Ulysses said that. Life is not breathing, my friends. Life is more than just breathing. So he says, as though to breathe were life. And he says, life piled on life is too little. The number of experiences that you can have, even if you have life number 1, life number 2, life number 3, piled one after another like a video game, even then the experience is not enough. And here he says that I have only one life, and of that one life, I am towards the end. Life is completely over. I am towards the end. So he says that life piled on life were all too little, and of the one to me, little remains. But every hour is saved from that eternal silence. So every hour is saved. Why does he say saved? Because it is going close to that eternal silence. What is the eternal silence, my friends? It is death, obviously, is the eternal silence, because nothing can be heard after it, at least according to Ulysses. And he says that every hour is saved because something more. Because every hour you have something new to do. Every hour you get to do something new, you get to know something new. A bringer of new things, and while it were for some 3 sons to store and hoard myself. Beginning of the entire poem, that these people, they hoard and sleep and feed and know not me. It is pointless. 3 sons here means years, by the way. So revolutions around the sun, 3 sons. So it is pointless for me. Maybe I'll live for 3 more years. Should I just stay in one place for 3 more years? What is the point of that? And he says that it is vile for some 3 sons to store and hoard myself and this grey spirit. He calls himself a grey spirit. So he's old. You see, the hair is grey probably, and so his spirit becomes grey as well. He is getting old now, yearning in desire, and he is yearning in desire to follow knowledge. And this is one of my favorite lines, and we'll end this session with this line, because it ends part 1 where he justifies why he should not stay, he should go. He says that he wants to follow knowledge like a sinking star. Now here, sinking star could be knowledge, or the sinking star could be himself. If it is a knowledge, that is a sinking star, if the sinking star is a knowledge, then he would follow knowledge as if it is sinking on the horizon and he's trying to reach it. He'll never actually reach it. But if it is himself, he is like a sinking star, and he wants to follow knowledge like that sinking star. So it's pure imagery. He wants you to imagine himself falling like a star, and maybe it will burn out, the star will die. He's about to die as well. So these are his last pangs. So crucial moment of his life, he's about to die. He wants to go out on one last voyage, and he says that to follow knowledge like a sinking star, he wants to go beyond the utmost bound of human thought. He wants to go beyond what humans have been able to think, or what humans have been able to believe. So that's it for the first session, people. I'll see you again in the next session, where we'll discuss the ending of this poem. And on that note, I might also add how to read a passage to the next video. It's pretty easy. Like whatever we have discussed, whatever you have come to know, figures of speech, the verse structure, iambic pentameter, how does it happen, the sonority, the sonorousness, and everything, all of this comes into your understanding of a passage. But we'll discuss more about this in the next video. Till then, have a great time. Thank you.